What's up, everybody? Welcome back. We appreciate you being here. Lindsay and I are going to be discussing the 5 pillars of successful Forex trading. Lindsay laid out the framework for today's video. We both together kind of went in and filled it with some meat. And I think that if you stay through till the end, you're going to find something, if not a lot of things, that you can take out of today's video and apply into your trading. So first, we're going to be talking about technical analysis. We think that this is the foundation for successful trading. So Lindsay, how you feeling? You excited to be here? I think this is going to be a good video.
Yeah, I'm excited to be here for sure.
So when you thought about this idea, do you remember what inspired you to frame it out into 5 pillars or into 3? Why 5? Was there any specific reason?
Because I just think the 5 topics that we're going to cover is a kind of essential that every trader needs. So
Makes
that's
sense.
why it was the 5 pillars rather than just 3. Because I do think these 5 are really important in your process.
So why technical analysis first? Why did you put this as the first pillar towards successful trading?
Because you definitely need the technical analysis first to really, for your price action, for where that's going to give you a guide of where you're going to go in your Forex trading initially. So I think everyone needs to kind of start with the price action. I know that other pillars are just as important, but I think for price action, I think that is where your foundation lies.
And it's hard to do anything if you can't read the chart. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
if you can't
yeah.
identify bullish versus bearish candles, if you don't know how to, successfully draw trend lines, if you don't know those basic things, I think it's hard to go into the other pillars too, which is why I love that you put it as the first one. And what my notes were saying to what I was thinking about when I was just trying to come up with some ideas for this was that I felt, for me, when I got into trading, learning different indicators and learning what they could do was important for me because I was testing out different things. So there's so many different aspects of technical analysis that can put this whole picture together for you. But I think a lot of it requires almost experimentation or not a testing phase, because you don't need to put money behind it to test it, but just playing with all the different aspects of reading a chart.
Yeah.
And I think it's Forex specific too. If you try to read a chart when you're looking at a stock, let's say you're looking at Apple's going to gap on some days. Forex pairs don't gap like that. So you're looking at just different market structure, and you have to take all of that into your analysis too. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think you've got to get a feel as an individual of how you're reading the technical analysis and kind of knowing your own kind of trigger signals that are going to be aligned with you as a whole. So I think that's why you've got to really kind of take the technical analysis as the kind of foundation of your process.
And I think one more thing about it is for me, when I think this was probably 2 or 3 years ago, I really focused in on having language in my plan or in my way of doing analysis, having language to not, or to identify consolidating or choppy markets before I was to take a trade and then realize that I was in a choppy market. So being able to read a chart and say, oh, this is in trend. Oh, it's a bullish trend. It's a bearish trend. Or no, this is consolidating. Let's stay away from this. I think that's an important piece too of
Absolutely.
understanding technical analysis. Okay, good. So let's talk about risk management. This is the second pillar. I think that the first thing we have to talk about when you think about risk management is the leverage, because in Forex, a lot of people know it as a market that offers a ton of leverage. But in reality, if you're really trading for the long run, and I think you and I have gone through this in our own separate ways, but when you understand what trading is, you don't need that leverage if you're really trying to grow a business successfully and consistently for the long run. Do you see so many new traders coming in and just using too much leverage? Because I feel it's so easy for them to get sucked in with all these brokers that offer crazy leverage. You know what I mean?
Yeah, all the time I see it. And for me, I think that was where another first thing that we had to learn. So as soon as I came in, I was kind of taught your risk management, having that, 1 or 2%, 3%, whatever it was on your overall account. And once you kind of see how you can grow that over the long term, how powerful it is, I think that then you know yourself that you don't have to be over leveraging your account. And if you're over leveraging your account, you're taking that one loss that can wipe your account out.
That's true. Yep.
How long are we going to be playing for here? Because we're not going to be playing for long.
Exactly. And I think the other part of risk management beyond the leverage is that you have to have a grading system. And I think that's the first step towards proper position sizing. So if you can finally, it took me, again, some time to realize this in my own trading, but if you can finally get to the point of accepting that not all of your trade ideas are going to be winners, but also not all of your trade ideas are of equal quality, then you can say, hey, for my best trade ideas, my highest probability trades, I'm going to put this much size, and that's going to be my biggest position size risk. And if you can then say, well, look, those are my A trade setups, let's find B and C trade setups, and they'll get smaller size. And then at that point, you've like automated, systematized all of the risk management thoughts that you need to have when you come to the desk to take a trade. So there's no emotion allowed to creep in and make you take too big of a position size or anything like that. So it can really be systematized. That's my big thing with risk management. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, because I didn't have the grading system. Obviously, when I came to ASFX, I just had the same risk that I put on every trade. Right. And as we know, every trade is different qualities. Equal. So I loved that we had the grading system in, and then you were really diving more deep into your risk management.
And you can then see even how some people will take the grading system and use it differently. Like some people will be putting 2% of their account on their A setups. Some people will put 0.25% of their account. Everybody's at a different place. And that's why I'm not too big on like making a specific framework, a specific setting of risk, because everybody's risk profile is different. You know what I mean? So I think it's just important to understand that you can systematize this. Like you can grade your trade setups by their quality and then put different size to the better trades versus the lower probability trades. Okay, good. So let's go to Sorry.
No, I was just going to say that obviously the longer you're kind of trading your systems, as we like to say, that is when you're going to have that confidence, and that's probably the ones who are grading their trade, their A setups at 2%, 100%. Versus the newer traders coming in who are using 0.25% on their A setups.
Exactly. Okay, good. So let's go. We got the first one is technical analysis. That's that first pillar. Second pillar being risk management. Third pillar is journaling your trades. So we have the ASFX trading journal, which everybody can click the link in the description to grab one of those if you haven't tried it or you need your next 90-day supply. But for me, the journaling and the documentation has always been what to me was like the gym. You know what I mean? Like it keeps me accountable, it keeps me growing. It doesn't matter what anybody outside the world in social media or outside these chart markups and the documentation says. That's the facts. That's what I need to believe in. You know what I mean? So I feel like to me, it was always something that I would fall back onto to make me confident in the system. I've had people say to me, like, what do you do when you're in a losing streak or even on a winning streak? It's the same thing. It's always go back to the documentation and the journaling. What are you doing that's working so well? How could you answer that question if you're not actually writing it down, journaling it, taking photos of the trades, and then giving yourself something to go back and study? You wouldn't be able to do that. You know what I mean?
No. And I think, with your trade ideas, you have, regardless of if it's a loss, that loss can still be a good setup.
For sure.
So you have
still
to
journal
go back and have it documented, not just ignore it, where a lot of traders want to walk away and forget about it, because if you're not reviewing and journaling, how do they expect to evolve and grow?
I've had some guys, and it's no beef, but it's like some people tell me they only mark up and document their winning trades. And I'm like, what do you think that's doing for you? That's not going to make you grow. That's not going to push you to be better. No. You have to go after your losing trades, take accountability for them. That's step one. So like, if we're really going to talk about this, it's like the reason people don't document them is because they don't want to be held accountable for those losing trades. We've all been there. You know what I mean? So if you can first take accountability for it, take responsibility for it, then you can say, well, what do we need to do to not let this happen again? But if you just ignore it and you don't mark it up, you're never going to get better. You're never going to be able to move forward.
No,
so
never.
The journals, were a big thing. I think that I'm pointing at it. I've got it right here. The journals are a big thing that have helped traders.
Yeah.
What do you think is another thing, Lindsay, that's helped people with their documentation beyond just markups? Like, is there anything that stands out to you from the coaching calls you've done?
Well, see, even for me, I used to, and it's something that I've came away from, I now just take screenshots and, save it into my PC, etc. But I used to video it.
Yeah.
And really kind of talk myself through it. So that is something that I think for beginners coming in, that's where I felt, and I felt more confident. I didn't have to use it any longer, and I could just do the screenshot and have all my notes attached to it. But I think a video of journaling that you can do really helps initially when you start out, and just talk through your emotions, how you're feeling. Did you follow your rules and plan? Were you, stressed before you came to the desk? Whatever it may be, I think a video one's good.
Videos are good too. I think even like what I've seen work for some people is like if you tell them like as coaches, if we tell them to create content, if they were to like have to post YouTube videos, or if they have to make content about their trades, that can lead to more accountability too. And that can lead to knocking out two birds with one stone. You're creating content, people will want to see that, they'll learn from that, and you're also documenting for yourself. So it's a win-win there. All right, good. I like the journaling as that third middle pillar. That's good. Let's go into the fourth pillar, which you wrote as strong mindset. So when you put that there, I came up with 3 words. 3 words came to mind: humility, discipline, and focus. Humility came to mind because I think, like I said before a few minutes ago, you can't like think all of your trade ideas are going to be winning trades. No. And you can't think that they're all going to move to the extent that you would like them to move. You have to be humble when you come to the desk. And if you are, I think the market tends to reward you for being respectful in that way. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
And then I think the other 2, discipline and focus, are like discipline to stay on the rules, focus to find that set of rules, and really just lock in on that tunnel vision focus. This is what I'm going to be doing, not what other people are saying on social media or in the group chat or anything. I can generate my own ideas, read risk reward myself, and just be here in that strategy, which kind of leads us into the 5th pillar too. But that was what I was thinking on strong mindset. Did you have anything you wanted to add there?
Yeah, no, I agree with what you've got down, and I think also the self-sufficiency coming into the mindset, that where your mindset's on point, that you can be on your own lane and stay in your own lane. And I think when your mindset's not in point, that's when you're going off track and you're being distracted by others, and you're kind of seeing, what am I trying to say, like the shiny object syndrome, someone's always better somewhere else.
Of course.
I think you want to get yourself, that your mindset's totally on point, to get yourself to that self-sufficiency. But mindset is a huge pillar. I just think it has different avenues of it for so many things, Right. So I definitely think mindset it's a strong pillar, and you just have to get the discipline and focus, stay in your own lane, not worry about what others are saying and doing, and that way you will get yourself to consistency.
It's like trading psychology. It's such a big topic. It's like
big topic.
Where do we want to start with that?
Yeah, absolutely.
But we'll be having some mini some stuff for everybody who's watching, and the guys who follow ASFX. We have some stuff coming for you guys in 2021, some mini courses that are really going to help you guys with this stuff, that will go deeper into the psychology side of trading, because like I just said, it's such a broad topic. It's we can attack it from so many angles. It's hard to pin it down to one easy to say catchphase sentence kind of thing.
And I even think what else goes into that is consistency, because a lot of people are not consistent enough, and I think when they start in trading,
in what, when you say that, what do you mean?
I think they're just dipping their toe in, and they're coming in like a hobby, and they're coming to the desk and just like, oh well, if I get to the desk now for a wee half an hour at 9 a.m. today, but I'll maybe come back tomorrow and I'll come on at 7 p.m.
Sure.
And there's just no consistency in the routine.
Like they treat it like it's a casino, like they can just show up and gamble. Yeah,
they can just show up and
So and that makes me think of
see the consistency.
Right, but also in that same idea of consistency, like the idea of you have to show up. When I show up, I have to find a trade. Why is that something that people think every time they show up to the desk? They have to click the button, they have to take the trade, So I think those are 2 areas where you can look at and say, like, we've seen a lot of people struggle. So if you're listening to this and you're thinking like, well, how do I apply that to myself? Like, you want to be the opposite of that, so to speak,
Yeah,
but let's go into this 5th pillar, this one good strategy, one good trade idea. Because I think that this was a big difference maker for me. And I think it kind of ties into what we talked about, not focusing too much on what other people are doing, finding what you do best and really getting better at that. I think also I've been listening to some podcasts and some trading books and stuff, and I heard somebody say recently, you have to find a strategy that aligns with your beliefs and who you are as a person. It can't just be a winning strategy on the technical side. You might not be able to trade it well. So there's a lot of things that go into actually finding that strategy. But once you find something that's tested and you can back test it and prove it profitable and you can repeat it every day, that can be your edge. And as you get better at that strategy, your edge will get sharper. You know what I mean? Does that make sense, Lindsay?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. It does, because for me, I was fighting with myself for 2 years of a strategy that didn't sit right with me.
Right.
But I didn't really know how to take it in a different avenue to go down, because for me, like I said, EMAs was something that was taught within my initial strategy, but was never implemented because my mentor didn't believe in them so much. But for me, once I tested it, it sat well with me, and it really grew my confidence that I was on the right side of the trade.
Right.
But I didn't really want to go against what she was teaching me, shall we say, and I think that's what held me back and kept me on that path for so long. And then once obviously I came across ASFX, and I knew that yous were using EMAs, and I could see that there's another strategy here that is going to sit probably much better with me.
Yep.
Then that's when I took the leap, because I knew that
it aligned more with your beliefs. It aligned more with what you were looking for and what you already believed in the market, in the way of reading the market. So that's what I'm saying. It aligned with you more at that point. I think too, when you talk about the one good system, the one good strategy idea, like I want to give everybody something that they can understand. When I say this, and when Lindsay and I tell people this, the strategy has to have a certain few characteristics. One of them being the trigger signal. A strategy can have more than one trigger signal. That would maybe just make it a different strategy. There's semantics here in the wording that you use, strategy, system. Like there's definitely semantics there, but the idea is that these systems, these strategies have a trigger signal, a predetermined stop loss, a way to read risk, a predetermined take profit, like a way to read potential reward, and then a checklist of questions that you can read on the chart and with price action, a checklist of questions that you can use to qualify the trade. If you have all of that, the trigger, the stop, the risk management, position sizing kind of idea built into it too, how you're going to grade those trades, and that checklist, then that can be a complete system, because you can back test that. And then if it's back tested and proven profitable, then it makes sense to put money into it and forward test it and use it in the market. So the strategy idea has all these components. And if you are just getting, into ASFX, or if you're just new to me and Lindsay, definitely go to the channel and study some of the other videos, because we've talked about this a lot. But if you can combine all these characteristics and put it together, you can actually piece a strategy together and then use that irregardless of what anybody else is saying or doing. And that can make you more self-sufficient than ever before. That's the idea with this one good strategy. And then you just get bigger in that. You don't need to do anything else. And other strategies will come. Like if you asked me, Lindsay, if you were like, where did the D1 and the D2 come from when you already had the A1? They only happened because I was just focused on getting better at the A1. That led me to seeing more patterns within it, and that led to the D1 and the D2. You know what I mean? Yeah.
No, I think one strategy is good, and obviously diving deeper into that when it's so precise as to what we have within our systems. Yeah. That's what I always classify gave me the edge in the market, because
how precise it is.
So precise it is. I never had to double check myself or overthink it, because it's black and white in front of me.
Makes sense. Yep. And that's what I think when people come to ASFX and then they look to you for coaching and stuff like that, I think they look to you to help them find those precision points that they're missing, because I think it's easy to overlook them, and you and me would overlook them because we're so used to it. But when you're new, we're asking questions of the chart sometimes that are very detailed. So it takes a trained eye. I was talking to one of the new guys like yesterday. We had our welcome call and we were just catching up, and I was like, do you speak any other language? And he was like, said something back to me in Spanish, and I don't speak Spanish like that. But he was saying, yes, of course I speak another language. I speak Spanish. And I was like, so you have to just look at what we do with trading and the way that we read risk and the way that we have our strategy. It's like another language. You don't get it at first, of course. Like the charts are weird looking. Like no one's going to just get it. I didn't just get it. You think I just showed up 6 years ago and was like, oh, I know how to read this. You know what I mean? It takes a long time to really get a grasp under it. But once you get it, you're talking like, it's your second language. Like you've been doing it for years. So it just takes time, and I think that's like you said at the beginning, actually. So it's a good tie into what you said about just giving it time and being able to commit and not just dipping your toe in the water, like jumping in, head first.
And that I think that is one of the biggest struggles that new traders have coming in, because they're just dipping their toe in. They don't have any pillars in place. They probably don't know the right avenue they're going down.
Sure.
And the consistency part is the hardest part for them, because they just think they're going to show up at the desk and it's going to magically happen, and they can read these charts and be successful.
It's like there is so many parts to successful psychology, but at the same time, we probably could sit down and list them all out and give that to people and be like, think this way. But even if we did that, I think they would still have to get burned a couple of times on their own, like touch the stove, you know what I'm saying? To learn that, I can't think that way when I come to trading. I have to think this way, kind of thing, in certain scenarios when it comes to risk.
We sometimes see it in our community, we can be saying whatever, but other traders can just go off and do their own, and then maybe once they've been burned twice, they come back and say, oh, you were right, what you said about that.
Exactly. No, that's a good point to leave us with, Lindsay. So this has been good. I'm glad that we got this video done. For everybody that's still here watching all the way through, comment below. Let us know which of these 5 pillars mean the most to you. Which one are you focused on improving? Because let's be honest, like all of them, we can focus on for all of us and to improve at least one of them, probably more than one of them for most of us. You know what I mean? So comment below, let us know which one stands out the most. We appreciate you guys giving us the time, and let us know in the comments if you guys enjoy like these conversation podcast type videos, and we'll keep them coming. But Lindsay, I appreciate it always. Thank you everybody for being here. Yeah, you're welcome. And we'll see you guys in the next video.